just make sure you get to that hot cake line.
Let's hit the hot cake line quick.
All right.
We don't want to miss out on that.
All right, here we go.
Rubber Beauties, Rubber Beauties, the truth to themselves. Rubber Beauties, Rubber Beauties, the truth. It's true, it's true, it's true. Rubber Beauties, Rubber Beauties, the truth to themselves.
This is the level of evil genius that Stoff and I are at right now. We have timed the release of this episode of Beauties and Rubber Beauties, story of Bob McKenzie and his shootout with Vladislav Tretiak, at the exact time Bob releases his own book, Everyday Hockey Heroes, Volume 2. Thus, Bob is cannibalizing himself by us promoting Beauties at the expense of Everyday Hockey Heroes Volume 2. Brilliant.
Well done by us.
Yeah, so that's what we're here to say is, do you want to read an entire book of Bob McKenzie and Jim Lang stories, or do you just want to read the best Bob McKenzie story in Beauties? Right?
Correct.
That's not really true. We want you to... Bump? Is the Bobby Bump? Yeah, we're giving ourselves the Bobby Bump. Bob, whenever Bob used to come on our podcast, he would call it the Bobby Bump to bump the ratings. He was not wrong. No. Now, the Bobby Bump, we're getting it for the Rubber Beauties and Beauties podcast, and I guess we better give Bobby the what we call the Puffy Bump from the Beauties podcast. So we want you to buy the book Beauties. We love it. Well, at least I love it. I wrote it. I don't know what you guys think of it, but I love it. But
I feel like it's a breezy read.
It's a breezy read. Well said. That's going to use when we put the paperback out and there's quotes on the back. A breezy read. John Puffy Cameron.
Nice.
We want you to buy Beauties, but then if you've bought Beauties and you still have a little money left over, please buy Everyday Hockey Heroes by Bob McKenzie and Jim Lang. By the way, do you think that Jim Lang, good guy, really good guy, he writes a lot of the stories in Bob's Everyday Hockey Heroes book, and but his name is only in small print on the cover. Yeah, Bob's is in huge print.
Yeah,
that's what I would do if you co-wrote my book, Puffy. You would write the entire thing, and I would put my James Duffy and tiny little like those legal copyright letters and Puffy Cameron.
And it would still sell like hotcakes.
Hotcakes.
My book is selling like hotcakes. By the way, where did that expression come from? Selling like hotcakes.
I believe, James, it was 1927, just before the Great Depression.
And the invention of sliced bread.
Oh wow! Yes.
Seriously, what did they sell? When did they sell hotcakes? Like, and why were they selling tons of hotcakes at the time? What are hotcakes? Pancakes?
Pancakes, yeah. They're pancakes that are made with syrup, and they come in circles.
So
you just described pancakes.
No. So he's somewhat right. The idiom to sell pancakes comes from the United States, where the term hotcake was invented. In the 19th century, is synonymous for pancakes. The origin is largely undocumented and has led most to believe it simply comes from pancakes being a popular item at fairs and festivals.
Wow.
So fairs and festivals.
Wow. That's great. That's astonishing that you didn't look that up at all. You have that information right in the top of your head there.
I do have quick Google fingers. There's also, you know how they have questions people ask?
Yeah.
Why do hotcakes sell so fast?
Well, that's would be the thing. Well, I mean, I would buy personally. I like pancakes. If I was at saw a pancake stand on the side of the road, particularly on a 18-hour bus ride back from Georgia, I would stop and buy some hotcakes. You, Puffy?
Yes, I would. I could have used some hotcakes about 24 hours ago.
Here it says hotcakes sold quickly, not because they were a novelty, but because they were literally hot. So that's why they sold quickly, because you wanted to get a fresh hotcake.
You got to eat them when they're hot. I got it. Get them while it's hot. Yeah, I get it.
Cloacas hotcakes, what don't you learn?
All right, that's all the time we have. Thanks for listening to this episode of Rubber Beauties. Why don't you do an ad read before we get into this episode?
Love to do
Stop. Do you have an ad read for the sponsorships?
They just pour in.
Keep pouring in for the Rubber Beauties podcast. We're making a mint.
Well, I'd like to let you guys know that the Rubber Beauties podcast is brought to you by the Stoff and Lester Show, currently on hiatus. Check back soon wherever you get your podcasts.
The Lester and Stoff show, when that one is out, it downloads like hotcakes.
Ooh, oh yeah.
That's because it's very short. That's why.
So when I was writing Beauties, obviously, if you've read Beauties so far, there's a lot of stories from TSN guys, because when I started compiling stories, I say this in the book, I think some of the best storytellers in hockey are broadcasters, because that's kind of their job, is to tell stories. And a lot of the ex-players that get on, the reason they're good in TV is because they're great storytellers. Hence, Jamie McLennan last week, those stories were just unbelievable. Bobby's also a great storyteller, and I wanted Bobby in the book for obvious reasons, because he's the king and he's one of my best buds. And I said, is there anything that you didn't write in your books, Hockey Confidential, or and I knew this story. He had told me before about his one-on-one with Vladislav Tretiak, and so I thought it would be the perfect story for the book. And it also gave me an excuse to put in the book that picture of Bob when he was like 19 or 20. That hockey
Sweet
pic.
flow. Sweet flow.
It's one of the beard and the flow are one of the greatest things ever.
Yeah.
Any questions about Bobby's episode of Beauties?
I don't have a question as much as a comment. I love the fact that I guess that was a long time ago when we're talking about him shooting on Tretiak, but still, the balls to say I'm going to score anyway. You know what I mean? Like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty impressive at that time.
I think the reason I love the story is that Bob is incredibly competitive. And I don't think that, not in a bad way, but I just think, when Bob writes books, he wants to write the best books and sell the most books. And when Bob was breaking all the trades, he wanted to break them first, and always did, basically. Mm-hmm. And so, and I see that in his two sons, too, Sean and Mike, who were both really good hockey players. And we played golf, Puffy and I, with Sean, and he's competitive on the golf course. And so I know, especially a young Bobby Mack, that he got a chance on Tretiak, that he was going to have to score. And as he tells it in the book, the reason he really had to score is because Steve Dryden.
Yeah.
Which I don't believe. I don't believe that happened.
Yeah, I'm not sure it did either. But Dryden wrote a big story in the Hockey News, which I quote in the book. And that's one of probably the Evil Quizmaster's proudest moment, is when he scored on Tretiak at a fantasy camp, where he was writing a story for the Hockey News. And Bobby knew that if Dryden scored on Tretiak, Bob had to score on Tretiak. But the fact that he popped his shoulder and still had to continue with the show.
I would have done.
And also the story, the fate, like you said, Paul Henderson and all the guys from the team were looking at him like, you are such an why would you do that? But Bobby Mack is just the greatest. I had a quick Tretiak story on a similar vein. This one's not quite as complimentary to Tretiak, but when I was working local news in Ottawa during Winterlude, somebody sponsored a shoot on Vladislav Tretiak contest on the Rideau Canal during Winterlude, which is Ottawa's popular winter festival. The frozen canal. Have you guys ever got to go to Winterlude and skate on the canal?
No.
Have you ever skated on the canal?
No.
Something you guys have to do in your life. Growing up in Ottawa, that's something we always did several times a winter, and it's just really cool experience. World's longest skating rink and all that stuff. But Winterlude is cool. They have just all sorts of fun activities. Great family thing to do. So they sponsored the thing, and I can't remember. I think it was a bank, maybe RBC or someone that had sponsored it. And, 10 people had won a contest to get a chance to shoot on Tretiak. And we were down covering it for whatever reason. I guess it was Tretiak, and I was doing my local news thing. And it was freezing. That's the one thing about Winterlude in Ottawa. It can be like to get good skating conditions in Ottawa, and it's February, it's often minus 30 for Winterlude. So Tretiak was so cold that he refused to come out of the heated tent to do the shootout. And so they had a cardboard cutout of Tretiak that they had used for the promotion. And that's what they put in the net for these people that won the contest.
Oh, my God.
On a cardboard cutout.
Oh, my God.
So he wasn't actually there?
He was there.
He was there. He just wouldn't come out because he was too cold.
Wow.
In fairness to Tretiak, though, from the sounds of this story and Bob's story and others, he's faced over 11 billion shots in his life. He just travels around different events every week and let everyone shoot on him?
He's probably tired of these regular Joes scoring on him.
These heroes making their best move ever to try and make him look like a fool.
Yeah. But it's amazing in the book that he came charging out at Bob, because you would have thought, again, who cares? He's Tretiak. He doesn't care who scores or not. And the fact that he made a run at Bob, he's pretty funny.
Well, maybe Tretiak is just as competitive as Bob is. At least when listen, all these guys, all these athletes, there's certain things that you do when you flip that switch with these guys and their wires touch. Look out, right? So. And it's not even so much, it's not a surveillance, it's just that competitive edge. So I get it. I understand.
By the way, I should couch the fact that I had to leave that thing at some point. So Tretiak maybe eventually did come out for for a couple of people, but I never saw him. I just saw these contest winners shooting on a big plastic cardboard cutout of Vladislav Tretiak.
Now, did you leave because you were also cold?
Yes.
Fair enough. Hey, you get the story and get the hell out of there.
My first winter as a local reporter at CJOH, the Ottawa CTV station, and this might have been that first winter. There was a stretch from December 5th to January 10th where every day was minus 35 Celsius and colder without the wind chill. And when you are in local news, you do a lot of weather stories. The weather often leads the local news when nothing else is going on. And so the local reporters, you would do 3 weather stories. And so every day it would be let's send it out to little Jimmy, who's on the Dow's Lake on the Rideau Canal, doing a live hit in minus 45-degree temperatures. That was my first winter as a news reporter. And I think one of the main reasons I got the hell out of there and changed to sports as quickly as I possibly could have. One other story in that chapter, and this episode of the pod. Were you around, Puffy? Do you remember the time that Jeremy Roenick
I was there, yeah.
Gave Bob the you never played the game line?
Yeah, we were like, oh, this ain't gonna go well.
That like I say in the chapter and in the pod, there are a few things that get Bob riled up, but that you say that to Bobby Mack, and he was ready to go. And he, sorry, JR, who's JR just got beat to a pulp in that argument.
Oh God, yeah. And
he got destroyed.
It happens. It still happens. Like Overdrive all the time. There'll be people like you played, or oh Noodles, you played, and Hayes is sitting there like.
I know.
But the thing is, you look at sports today, and it used to always be former players running teams because they knew everything. But now it's the Joe fan who's actually running the show now. So maybe it's not the players who know everything about these games. It's
right.
People watching them too.
Well, it's all about perspective and balance, right? So.
Well, I still get it. I'll get people saying sometimes, "Why are you on that panel? What level did you play?" I'm the host, dude. I don't pretend to know everything about the game.
But the thing is, James, the fact that you didn't play actually makes you more effective because you can come at it from a different angle If everybody was talking about it from the same angle, then, there's no discussion, right?
Well, the role of the host, in my mind, is to play the role of the viewer.
Yes,
right?
100%.
I am supposed to be the average viewer, except in my looks.
Nobody's perfect.
And just ask the guys the same questions that hopefully the viewers are thinking in their head. So anyway, I'm not going to get into a speech about the role of the host in journalism, even though I just did. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed this edition of Rubber Beauties. Again, Rubber Beauties is just a short postscript to Beauties. Check out the latest Beauties pod if you haven't already, with Bob McKenzie. And check out the latest edition of the Rubber Boots podcast, which should be out in a couple of days. And we're about to tape it right now. Oh, one more ad read before we go, Steph.
That is correct. The Rubber Beauties podcast is brought to you by The Edge on TSN 1050. Did you and your kids lose a lot of money this weekend? Like, don't tell Tanya a lot? Let AK and Al's brother guide you back to the promised land. The Edge on TSN 1050, Tuesday and Friday nights at 7 p.m.
I think that was specially done for The Edge's host, Aaron Korolnik, who is a longtime listener of the Rubber Beauties and Rubber Boots podcast.
Absolutely.
By the way, we'll probably talk about this on this week's edition of Rubber Boots, but one of my favorite parts of Masters Week was being on the bus, listening to Puff talk to his children about their bets. Hello? Yeah, no, Barrett, we're okay. We're okay. They're going to cover. 3 points clear now, and they have the ball. It's going to be okay. Don't cry. Barrett. They're going to cover the spread.
Oh, so you're talking them off the ledge.
No, there was an incident this week.
Uh-oh. Save it for the pod.
Yeah, we'll get it on Rubber Boots. Thanks for listening to Rubber Beauties.
Rubber Beauties, the truth to themselves. Rubber Beauties, the truth. It's true. Rubber Beauties, the truth to themselves.
Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight?